Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fandom Fridays, where we proceed to check out all the fanfics that are not pony related. Why? Well, because some days you feel like watching a pony series, and some days you feel like watching an awesome show about four girls kicking ass, taking names. In this case, we present to you the latter. Yep, time for some more Ruby action, and this one's gonna be a killer thriller. We present to you Night Must Live by the Lone Wanderer. Enjoy. Here at the Berry Memorial Library. 9 Months to Live by The Lone Wanderer. John Hart groaned as light hit his eyes. He felt a killer hangover and hardly remembered what happened last night. The only thing he remembered was Yang breaking out several kegs of beer, and that he claimed she borrowed from her uncle, and the rest of the night was a blur. Finally getting up, John was shocked by his lack of clothes. The man was completely naked. This left Art wondering through his alcohol-induced headache. He always went to bed in his onesie. Heck, you remember one time he found it on fire in the middle of the cafeteria. Unfortunately, most of the demise of his scheming friends, he had several spares. Went to the room, seeing his pants and some red and black female undergarments scattered around the room. John began to fear the worst. His mother gave him death threats if something like this looked like happened. Actually, ah, ah. John froze as he turned to the source of the yawn next to him. There, in nothing but her birthday suit, was Ruby, laying on the same bed as John. Ruby shot up out of bed, bringing the cups over her as a girly scream broke through the room. She turned to see a naked John cowering in a corner, muttering something about her sister and the end of the art crown jewels. Um, John, did we? Ruby asked meekly. John nodded, his cheeks flushing red. I don't remember anything other than Yang and booze, but we woke up naked in the same bed, so I don't remember anything. That you'd be forgivable. John, please shut up. Okay. Ruby let out a yell. Yang! You could never know. She will literally kill you! John said. Trust me, your sister would do more than just kill me if she found out. Speaking of which, do you have any idea exactly what happened last night? You know, as we see last night got pretty crazy, the Reaper shrugged. Let's get dressed and go look for them. In separate rooms, John! She yelled, throwing a pillow at the knight as he started putting on his pants. John ran out into the bathroom, embarrassed, silently praying to Om that nothing bad would have come from the previous night. Fortunately for the two leader, they managed to locate the rest of their teams pretty easily. Red and Nora were found in the middle of the forest. Most notable, the giant tree fort that Nora had built to establish her kingdom, and Ren hanging from a straight tree, with Nora's lipsticks covering the poor man's face. Blake was found on campus, stuck in a tree, which he refused to speak about, and the two swore secrecy on the matter. Weiss was also easy to find, and a funny one too. She had the words ice spits written on her forehead in permanent marker. She asked why John and Ruby were giggling when they found her. The two merely replied they should just warm up to them. Fiora was found in the arena, surrounded by destroyed cereal boxes and remains of sugary breakfast in her hair. However, Yang proved the most difficult to track down. No one of the gang seemed to remember much from last night, and no idea where the blonde brawler was. Ruby rushed around the school, using her semblance to cover as much ground as possible. She couldn't find Yang anywhere. The closest she found was Cardin, collapsed on the floor of the gym with his crotch plate crushed. John paled at the sight of this, recognizing the work of Ruby's scary older sister. The Ark feared for his sword, and not the one his ancestors used. The hours of fruitless searching, Ruby seemed distraught. She wasn't very worried about Yang. She was worried about those fools enough to be near her when she was under a hangover. However, her thoughts were interrupted by the announcement coming from the school speakers. Would the leader of Team Ruby report to my office? Osmond's voice rang through the halls. Ruby's mind immediately began to run through the worst-case scenario. Was Yang in trouble? Did Glinda finally get her final wish and finally get the authority to expel Ruby from Bacon? Did Osmond find out about Ruby's theft of the school's cookie supply last week? She was not a crook. Finally making it to Osmond's office, the man himself seemed hardly different, drinking coffee from his mug with the same mysterious smile. "Hello, Miss Rose. I'm sure your friends had a interesting night to say," the headmaster stated as he took a sip from coffee. I, Don't worry, Miss Rose. Your sister is currently lying down, recovering from a massive hangover in your dorm room. However, I recommend your team avoid Glinda," Osmond said kindly. "Why do we have to avoid Glinda?" "I think it's best if I just showed you what your sister did last night while following in your uncle's footsteps," Osmond said, getting up from his chair and pulling open the curtains to the tower. There, burned across the entire Beacon front yard, was a giant dick. "God damn it, Yang!" Yang sounded outraged in the middle of his lecture on the importance of weapons maintenance. All of the students looked at him strangely. "Oh, sorry about that, class. Just had a weird sneeze. Don't tell your parents." He shrugged sheepishly. His thoughts turned to his eldest daughter, and the man had a feeling Yang did something really Yang-like. "All right, Mr. Cheats," shouted one of his students. A special student named Michael had been stuck for his class for 3 years now. Oh, see, this is why I wanted to do this, Vic. I needed an excuse to do red versus blue characters for a bit. Taiyang wrote his brow. A migraine began to brew. "Mr. Caboose, for the last time, my name is Taiyang! Every teeth died!" Osmond closed the curtain. Now, more important matters at hand. Beacon normally deals with this kind of wildness with strict zero tolerance party. However, I have a feeling that you've all learned your lesson from the hangovers your fellow students are suffering from right now. Ruby couldn't believe what she was hearing. Not only was Yang okay, sorta, but Osmond was going to keep the whole night a secret and let them off with a warning. "Thank you so much, Mr. Osmond. You won't be regret, sir." Ruby fired off as he rocketed out of the office. Osmond made it outside and went back to his coffee. "Sometimes I think you're the only one who understands me," the headmaster said as he looked at his mug with tired eyes. John was glad to hear back from Ruby. Osmond knew everything that happened last night, including them, but agreed to secrecy as long as the leaders prevented any more crazy drinking parties. John cringed as he remembered them like a madman walking the hallways of Beacon. Nothing was going to come back to haunt him from last night. He was sure of it. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? Chapter 1. Even after 1 month, things still had returned to quite the same with the teams. Yang was now known as campus-wide for having a bigger dick than the entire male population on campus. If you look closely at Weiss's forehead, you can still see the words "Ice Wits" written in all caps. Real humor came to the fact that he didn't realize till a day later. Beacon had to have all its windows repaired that day. However, with enough awkward silence, things quickly began to flow between the teams again. Ruby and John, however, seemed even more awkward and weird around one another. Both played it off as leader stuff, and that seemed to sate the curiosity of the gang. Still, John began to worry he had ruined his relationship with his first real friend he met at Beacon. It was still a mystery how it led to that, but it happened, and both were feeling really, really awkward about the whole thing. John let out a groan as he slammed his head against the desk. "Oh well, enough thinking over my fucked up friendship." "Oh, it's fucked up, alright." "Might as well get back to doing Oblak's assignment. Now, if only he could read past his ticket scratch and coffee stains on the paper." Ruby Rose, on the other hand, was struggling to keep up in the training room. She was sparring against Weiss, and while she not only found the method of exercise to be a great way to relieve stress and pent-up rage from Ice State's criticisms, she found herself panting hard after the first round. Ruby usually could go all day, squeaking Crest and Rose with ease paralyzed by a few. Now, she found herself panting. The sight seemed to weigh down. Even Weiss noticed something off, ending the match. "What gives, Ruby?" Yaris questioned her. "You never do this party. Not as good as me or Sneed, but John level isn't bad." John beamed with pride. 5 minutes to finish the damn assignment history and uses of coffee. Suddenly, John sneezed all over his homework, causing mucus to fly all over the paper, ruining it. "Oh, come on!" He groaned as Ren nearly stood by and lost his architect to save what little he could of his assignment. In all seriousness, I'm concerned for you, Ruby. You seem to be more tired all week, and have begun to worry us all. You're all I need and Ruby, Ruby, Ruby! Right side as saw the rose-haired girl begin to snore, dozing off in clear boredom.
Yeah, I don't want to go homeschooling. I want to stay home and eat cookies and play with my precious Rose.
Ruby mumbled as Rice took her awake. No, you don't. My reputation is riding on you. She ran down the poor girl. I'm fed off of you being so off. I'm forcing you to go to the school nurse. Ruby froze in the nurse.
Nurse, I'm fine. I don't need to go to the nurse.
Ruby looked at Weiss, fear filling her silver eyes, giving her the strongest puppy pout she could master. However, the puppy pout froze to death in the cold depths of Weiss's heart. And she grabbed Ruby by the hood and dragged her up to the nurse's office. Poor Reaper begged for mercy and no help from any. Fortunately, soon by he was still in fear of the heiress, save for the last person who made fun of her forehead. Poor Tucker had been stuck in a block of ice for days now. Wow, Tucker got the cold shoulder. Help! The partners made it to Bacon Sick Bay, a large room filled with beds and medical equipment, and a rather interesting choice of medical tools. Rows of bone saws, bloody scalpels, and oversized syringes were mounted on the wall, making any sane person try to stay healthy as possible. The man in charge, a nurse just named Doc, walked up to them. How may I help you ladies today? Doc said kindly to the huntresses in training. I'm here to drop off my partner to be examined. She's been more fit than useless been before lately, White says. Ruby tried to escape the room, but failed as White grabbed her by the hood again. The doc looked closely at Ruby. Other than the usual hyperness of a patient, Doc hardly saw any problem. Readjusting his glasses and purple lab coat, Doc looked at his knee. I don't see anything wrong, the nurse said softly.
Then look harder!
White ordered to the poor employee. Doc merely shrugged and went to the office to get a tool. He came back with a weird-looking gun that appeared to have green sparks flying from the barrel. Doc pointed the device at Ruby, causing her to jump into Weiss's arms.
See me, Weiss!
The Reaper pouted to the Harris. Weiss responded by dropping her on the floor, causing Ruby to land on her butt.
Coming.
She yelped. There. She's injured. Now do something. I need to make sure that the rest of this team is staying on track. We need to get a complete Ubix homework on the history of coffee. It's nearly impossible to finish if you have to redo it or put it off till today, Weiss said, rushing out the room, leaving Ruby with the nurse. Now, Miss Rose, I need you to stay still, Doc said as he aimed his gun at the later. I assigned this exam to a patient and giving me a complete health diagnosis as a target.
Will it hurt?
Ruby wondered. Let's find out.
Wait, what? Flash!
A green light came over the Grim Reaper, lighting the room with an eerie glow. After a good moment, the light died down, revealing a dazed Ruby. Well, that's good. The dog analyzed the Pharaoh's gun.
Unhealthy?
Ruby asked, actually concerned. Oh, no, the gun worked.
So, I'm not healthy?
Oh, no, you're perfectly healthy.
Oh, thank God.
But this is weird. Doc interrupted the Reaper. Was just about to raid Pinkett's battery of cookie goodness. Miss Rose, have you seen anyone lately? Ruby looked at the man straightly.
Yeah, I saw Weiss recently.
No, I mean, any men recently. Doc was about to explain the best he could to the naive girl. Ruby frowned.
Well, there was this one time about a month ago.
She muttered, flashing the color of her cape.
Why do you ask?
Well, Miss Rose, Doc said as he looked at Ruby in the eyes, and identified you as pregnant. John Dark was having a bad day. First, he slaved hours on the stupid project, only to be ruined by his own sneeze. How is that possible? Then, he had to spend the rest of his days salvaging what little he had left of it. However, nothing compared to the icy cold shiver that crawled up John's spine. Called it superstition, but John had a feeling something really, 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 really bad just happened. Something that could be the end of him. Chapter 3. He wasn't ready. Ruby stared at the nurse, her head rustling with emotions. Disbelief, fear, worry, shock, surprise.
Pregnant? There's gotta be a problem. I can't get pregnant.
Ruby finally said, breaking the silence that filled the room for a good moment. Doc looked at her with a serious look. I'm seeing this a lie, I think. The last one did insult me, and the one before that tried to infect me with an evil Yai! Fools! Sorry, bad cop. But there should be no error. You are pregnant, Doc said in a solemn tone. I'm going to need to contact your parent or guardian on the matter, and the father as well.
No!
Ruby shouted. The last thing she needed was her dad, or worse, Yang finding out about that night. Well, they will now know. Poor John. Oh God, John! The poor boy was still trying to fix his and Ruby's friendship from last night. Now he was going to be in more trouble than ever.
Look, Doc, please, let me be the one to tell them on my own time. I think it'd be best if
I
I...
broke the news. Doc looked at the girl, throwing him the biggest puppy pounce he could muster. Succumbing to the sheer adorableness, he let out a sigh. Fine, but I'm at least notifying the staff of this development, Doc replied, pulling out a scroll. Ruby knew there was no arguing that. Doc sent a notification to the headmaster and Glinda, who Ruby was sure would foam at the mouth at the number of problems caused by that night. She was still finding remnants of that night, most of them caused by Yang. She even overheard the statue of the founder of Beacon, holding its platypus, was covered in dick drawings that no one could prove who caused them. Ruby finally wiped out the hospital wing, hopelessly hanging over her. Green since he had managed a rope bump. Now she had to keep a huge secret from her family to keep her friend alive. Well, there was one person she could tell now, and that person who needed a head start the most. Osmond looked up from his desk to see a notification on his table. A message from the school nurse. Something about the subject of Ruby Rose. What did she do this time? Thought the silver-haired man as he took a sip from his mug. He opened the email and scanned over it until it shattered and echoed across the room. Osmond's mug crashing to the floor in the headmaster's shock. Pregnant? Osmond finished the message and started massaging his temple. Is this what Glinda felt like most of the time? Osmond let out a sigh. He knew Miss Rose wanted to handle this, but Osmond knew she would also try to avoid telling anyone as long as possible. He decided at the end of the month he would at least notify Crow. Glinda, Osmond called out, could you be a dear and fix my mug? It was my favorite. Ruby approached the door with Team Juniper, heart racing. Every fiber of her being wanted nothing else but to bolt down the hallway in the other direction. But she knew she couldn't do that. Finally mustering the courage, Ruby knocked on the door. John opened the door. His hair tangled in all sorts of directions. Oh, hey, Ruby, kinda busy at this moment. Nora just drank an entire thing of maple syrup. Is currently on sugar high. Nora, put that down! I need that desk! The young man called into his door, followed by a loud crash of a desk breaking and a maniacal cackle that only the hyperactive Ginger could do. John looked at Ruby. So, what did you want? Look, like my day just opened up. Ren, you got this? No, Great, bye, Ren! John said, bolting out the door and slamming it behind him. Letting out a sigh of relief, John looked at Ruby, who was still trying to make sense of what just happened. Sorry about that. My teammates could be a little overbearing. I just needed to get away for a bit. Sorry if I used you as an excuse. So, what did you want to talk about, Ruby? John asked, turning towards Ruby as the two began to walk. Ruby took a deep breath. John couldn't get the band-aid approach, so it'd be best if she told him slowly.
Hey, John, remember the party?
John immediately turned red. Well, no, I remember what happened. I do think we know what happened. What about it? He asked, looking at Ruby. Look, I'm sorry about that. We were both drunk, and I'm sorry about what happened. I know I'm not exactly the one you would have had, but can we go back to being how we were before? Just two socially awkward leaders? Ruby looked at John.
No, I agree. The conditions weren't exactly the best, but I'm glad it was you. God forbid it was someone else, like Cardin. But John, I have something really, really important to tell you. I need to know if you're ready for it.
John gave her an attempt at a suave smile. Ruby, John Ark is ready for anything. Ruby took a deep breath.
I'm pregnant.
God! Ruby looked down to see John on the floor, unconscious. He fainted, probably out of pure shock.
He wasn't ready.
Ruby sighed. John woke up, the sun shining brightly in his eyes. The knight looked around, seeing that he was on the grounds of Beacon, resting against a tree. Getting up and stretching his back, John thought why he was outside. He recalled Nora breaking into a sugary maple syrup that the team had banned her from, and escaping the dorm to get some peace from the hyperactive, sugar-crazed Ginger. He must have jetted on a nap. The man did, and it felt good. He had been training late for as long as he had been at Beacon, hardly ever taking a break, and it paid off, too. Yark, while still not on the level of his friends, could now easily pull his share in a hunt. He must have been easily stressed, because that nightmare he had of Ruby being pregnant seemed far too realistic for his taste.
Um, John?
He turned around to see Ruby, looking towards the floor, looking incredibly nervous. "Oh, hey, Ruby. Man, I just had the weirdest dream. You were there, and we were here, and—"
John, that wasn't a dream.
Ruby said quietly. John paled for several shades, becoming almost as pale as Weiss. Pregnant? He couldn't care for a child. Hell, he could barely care for himself. And if he was going to live after Ruby, and that was if he was going to live after Ruby's family found out, Yang would literally kill him, making the whole process as painful as he could. And even by some miracle he managed to survive Yang, he would still have to deal with her dad, whom anyone who fathered kids like Ruby and Yang would be somewhat scared of, and her Uncle Crow, who John heard he could kill Grim with inhuman ease. "Drunk! You can't be pregnant," John said.
We only did it one time.
Ruby looked down and shrugged.
Only takes one time to get pregnant.
Ruby said. However, John did not respond to this. Ruby looked towards the night.
John?
"I'm dead. This is how I die. John Ark died age 20, killed brutally by the family of Ruby Rose," John rambled out, visibly pale.
Thing won't kill you, I think.
"That's reassuring."
We still got some time. We can work out something. We have at least till the end of the month.
John looked at the red-hooded girl. It was his fault she was pregnant. His fault she even agreed to go to that party to begin with. Then again, he did recall Yang did threaten to expose his baby pictures she somehow got a hold of if he didn't go to the party, claiming that the knight needed to live a little on the wild side. The current situation was thus proof why John never did anything crazy like parties. His mom had drilled into his head, never go to drunken parties because of shit like this might happen. Not that he was ever going to tell Yang that. At this point, he'd be lucky enough to live when the blonde brawler found out. "Ruby, I'm sorry for getting you into this mess. I guess I really did screw up everything I touched." Ruby looked at Ark with anger, then punched him in the arm. Despite the nice Lars Orisers, punch hurt like a bitch. "Ow! What the heck is that for?" John whined as he ripped his arm.
It's not your fault, dummy. If anything, it's both our fault. These two to tango after all. Refuse to have yourself put yourself down after this.
Ruby stated, huffing as she crossed her arms.
Look, I need to get going before Yang gets the Weiss to start looking for me. I'll keep you updated in the meantime on a plan to keep you alive.
John did a double take. He thought he had rooted his friendship to the ground. But from what Ruby just said, it was stronger than ever. She was going to do everything in her power to make sure her family didn't kill him. The thought was heartwarming to say the least for John. Ruby could have easily chosen the easy route and told Yang right off the bat about what had happened. Who God knows what torture she would use on him. It was not likely to guess, but knowing his luck, all of them. "Hey, Ruby," he called out to the red-coated girl as he began to walk towards her door.
Yeah, John?
She turned back. "Thank you for all of this. I really appreciate it. If I ever live, I'm going to try to be the best parent I can. I give my word on the Ark as that," John said as Ruby reached the back door to the Beacon's dorms. Ruby didn't know what to say. The Arks were a family who took their work very seriously and never gave it slightly. Sure, John might be a goofball compared to the rest of his family, but still, the statement's value did not lose meaning.
Thank you, John.
Ruby said as he reached towards John and pressed him in a hug that was stronger than her small frame led people to believe. John stood there awkwardly for a second, hesitantly returned to the hug. For a little bit, both thought things might work out for the better. However, they broke away from the embrace. Both realized their teammates were probably wondering where their leaders had went off to, and less loose ends to bear.
Well, bye, John.
Ruby said archly, finally heading towards her room. Bye, Ruby! The arc raced away as the Reaper left his sight. John let out a sigh. He had a lot of work to do. Writing his last will and testament was one of them. Never hurt to be prepared, as his mother always said. Then he left the courtyard, failing to notice the dusty old crow circling above. Time had passed remarkably faster than both John and Ruby wished. They were approaching the deadline of Ruby's family finding out. By God, they needed a plan, and fast. Ruby was keeping things as low-key as possible. She was beginning to fall behind classes that required physical participation. Gym class proved to be a nightmare, being run by an old vet simply called Sarge, was robot assistant Lopez. It was permanently stuck on Spanish. Sarge had a habit of being a bit over the top. The man had students do two things. You had to either play dodgeball, where the teams were always red and blue, or had to run the track, trailing other students with Lopez driving Jar's Jeep. Is it wrong that the Warthog music's playing in my head? While Sarge would shoot students who were dragging behind with a shotgun. Also for Ruby's semblance, Ruby was sure she would have been Sarged. John, however, could not say the same. He was currently being placed a target for third-degree burns from the shotgun blast. Ruby jungle in private jet was practice. Overall, the two had finally gotten over that night. If anything, their relationship had improved. John was now always nice towards Ruby, giving her cookies all the time. They did come up with some plans, but none of them were willing to give a try. Ruby let out a sigh. Homework was draining, as it was usual. Having a simple of speed often meant being bored really, really easy. Homework was always a trial for the Reaper. However, her scroll buzzed, breaking what little concentration Ruby had on the paper. She opened it to see a message from husband. They know. Well, shit. Yang was having a good day. She had successfully avoided the death glare of the Wicked Witch, who was still trying to find evidence that the campus's rather sexually immature problem, and was done by the blonde brawler. Still, while most of that night was a drunken haze to Yang, she had a blast. Definitely left her mark on the school. She was going to go down in student history as one of the best, for both her skill in combat and her legendary party. Yang walked out of the training room, clocking in a new best against Team Cardinal. Part of her would always smile at bringing Damar's men to tears. Stretching out her tired body, Yang sat down in the hallway and relaxed. Nothing could ruin the sting in her eyes. Her nap was interrupted by a buzz of her scroll. Huh, this is from Professor Hossie. Yang wondered what the headmaster would want from her. Couldn't be about her manly touch to Beacon, because she would have heard about it months ago. And from the Wicked Witch. Yang opened the message. Tai Yang was having a long day. Working at Signal was draining work, requiring the patience the man was desperately running low on. The 2 months had been long for the hunter, having to work overtime because of an incident involving an Atlas tank and his least favorite student. Rubbing his temple, Yang let out a groan, his migraine pounding against his skull. This was almost bad as the time he tried to give his eldest daughter her first haircut. God, he still felt aches from his day. Who knew a 5-year-old could throw a table? At least Ty knew Ruby couldn't get into any more trouble. She was much more tame than Yang, preferring to stay at home and do weapons maintenance and going to parties. Yeah, his youngest was a little antisocial, but in Ty's eyes, he wouldn't that would be a bad thing. He wouldn't have to worry about boys too much. Much slayer. And at that point, he wouldn't have to care. Ty's eyes snapped open as a buzzing came from underneath the piles of paper buried beneath his desk. Letting out a large groan, the teacher began to shift the papers around to find his scroll. Finally, uncovering the device, Ty looked at the screen. From Ospen. Jesus, what did Yang do this time? Crow stood outside the bar, holding a fist up as the door slammed in his face. Yeah, your service is almost such as bad as your booze, the gray-haired man called out as the owner flipped him off. Crow walked away. Maybe he had gotten kicked out before he could get any real drinking in, for starting a fight with some of the bar's more known patrons. But his eyes, they had it coming, harassing the poor girl he had with him. So maybe he did go a little overboard. Hey, rest of the family. The past month had been one big haze for the dusty old crow. Hell, he could have sworn he'd seen his youngest niece talking with some wimpy-looking guy. But hey, he was drunk, and Ruby was known for being socially awkward. It was probably just Yang. That was far more believable considering her track record. He was still hearing Ty bitch about how she destroyed some crappy club. Crow felt a buzz in his pocket and started to scroll. What do you want this time, Oz? I'm dead! I'm dead! I'm so dead!
John, calm down. You don't know quite yet. We still have time to follow the plan.
Ruby and John stood in the middle of Team Ruby's dorm, the rest of the team thankfully absent. Blake was out of town getting some new books, and Weiss was meeting up with her older sister to probably kick a small animal. And Yang was beating the crap out of Team Cardinal. John was panicking, pacing nervously across the room, with Ruby trying to calm him down. The arc had grown into a blown plank, fearing life as he knew it would end soon. However, they were silenced by a sudden boom, sending the room shaking. It didn't sound that far off from the small dorm. What was that? John asked, fearing the answer.
That
Ruby paused.
was probably Yang.
John!
Definitely Yang.
John crawled up into a ball, moved to the corner. He was going to die. Killed by Yang, only to be revived by her father and uncle. Then killed. Then brought back to life for one last time for his mom to kill him. This was the end.
John, get up and put on your disguise. Son will be waiting for you at the Haven. All you have to do is make it there alive in one piece. Can't be that bad.
Ruby said with a rust tone, trying to motivate the arc. Ruby took a deep breath.
John, do you want to die in the most painful way possible, or do you want to get up your ass up and live to see another day?
Ruby huffed. John finally got up. I don't have a choice in this, do I?
Nope. My life sucks.
Yang only saw red. She read Aspen's note, saw the Ark's name. He's going to pay for touching her younger sister. No one touched her younger sister and live. Must knock her up. She bolted towards the doors, leaving a trail of beaten students in her path. Not if even the teachers dared to stop the blonde's rampage. She tore open Juniper's door, breaking through the wall. It revealed Nora drawing a near-naked Ren, who had only had a pink towel wrapped around his torso. John, where is he? Yang gritted out, hair flickering behind her.
Oh, John, he said he had to go meet Ruby for something. Studying, I think?
Nora said, giving a grin like nothing out of the usual happened. Nora, I don't think this is a good idea. Ren tried to tell her. I was cut off by the hyperactive ginger.
Oh, I wonder what they're studying. Maybe they're studying biology or human anatomy.
At that, what little control of her raised Yang and went out the deep end, drowned and went out to Hayal. She broke through the only non-broken wall in the dorm, bulldozing her path to the Ark, visibly foaming at mouth with rage.
I think John's gonna have a great time,
Nora said, as Yang punched the poor student who got her way through the roof. Ren could only face palm at the situation. Wonder what his leader could have done to piss off the brawler to this level. John knew this wasn't going to work. He knew the plan wasn't going to work when he came up with it a week ago. He knew it wasn't going to work now. Unfortunately, it was the only thing he had planned that had any chance of letting him live. He scratched his lip, the fake mustache causing much discomfort. Slowly creeping down the hallway, he went to Team Juniper's dorm to collect the rest of his things, hoping to not be seen by anyone. Hey, you! John wondered what he could have done in his past life to deserve such city luck. Maybe his disguise would work. Turning around, the Ark saw that sight and nearly killed him on the spot from fear alone. Yang was standing in front of him, hair blazing, glowing flames flickering off her mane, her eyes flared with bloodlust. Please don't see through the disguise. Please, 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 please. Yang squinted her eyes, giving John a hard stare, definitely not recognizing him. Have I seen you before? John stayed true to his disguise and answered the brawler through his thick mustache. No, mi hombre es Janok! John replied with flawless fairness, his sombrero covering his trademark blonde hair. Yang seemed confused, but nothing started seeing through his charade. He suddenly thanked his mom for forcing him to take all those classes on learning the blasted blankets. Whilst he claimed it might come one day in handy, John never thought it would be used to save his life. Oh, you must be one of those foreign exchange students. Well, if you see a blonde punk about your height, tell me, or else! Yang said with a dark look that screamed of bloodshed. Across, John could only bring himself to nod, then bolt off in the opposite direction. Finally, making it into his dorm, John was shocked to see two Yang-sized holes in the wall. Ren was standing there with a dull expression, more tired because of the upcoming finals. Nora, on the other hand, was pinning a pink sloth poster over one of her holes. John was glad to see Piero was out on tournament for the week, because the Ark was going to have a hard time explaining himself to her.
Oh, look, Ren, a Mexican. Good.
We're going to need some sweet labor to fix our walls. John mentally groaned. Of course that would be Nora's first thought. Nora, I don't think that's an actual Hispanic, Ren said, trying to calm the hyperactive girl down from her antics. John yanked the sombrero off his head and ripped off the fake mustache.
Ow! No, it's me, John! John's the Mexican's gonna fix our walls? Oh, John, Yang was looking for you. Here, let me call for her. Yeah!
John quickly covered her hands over her fake powerhouse's mouth. Nora, quiet! I'm hiding from Yang. He kind of wants me to kill me in the most horrible way imaginable, John said in a hushed tone, slowly taking his hand off of Nora's mouth.
Why would Yang try to kill you, silly?
She chirped. John let out a sigh. He looked around for anyone. He was not about to let such a huge secret be told to some eavesdropper for blackmail. He did not want to live for another round of Cardinals punching bag. Turning to half of his team, John began to explain the current situation. Look, remember that party Yang threw 2 months ago? You know, the one with the special drinks? Turns out me and Ruby got the baby slut together. Now she's pregnant and her family's going to end me in the worst way possible. John rambled. Nora seemed to understand his rambling, stared at him blankly. Finally, Ren broke the silence. Well, it seems you better run. But John, I do have one question. What are your plans if you live to witness the baby's birth? Ren said with a solemn expression. This caught the Ark off guard. He had been so absorbed in trying to come up with a means of survival, he hadn't thought that far. Looking back, it seemed incredibly selfish tonight. Gee, I never thought that far. I guess I would try to be the best father I could. God, I'm such an idiot, John said, slamming his hand to the desk, causing the poor thing to fall apart, due to the abuse he took from Nora earlier that month. No, you're young. You come up with an answer on your own terms. For now, we need to get you packed and out of here, Ren said, getting a bag out for the night. After cramming as much luggage as he could into his pack, for the help of the two, John stood outside of the new entry of his former dorm. Can't thank you enough, Ren, Nora. You guys are the best teammates a guy could ask for.
No need to thank us, Johnny boy. Just stay alive,
Nora said with a usual smile. That is true. It would be quite sad if our leader went out this way. I wish you luck in your travels, Ren said as he handed John a thermos. This contains a nutritional drink that should be able to supply your body with all the nutrients it may need. John opened up the thermos and a siver, instantly gagged at its smell. Thanks, Ren, John said quickly as he tried to hold his stomach. Quickly recovering, John pulled from his bag a series of letters and handed to them. Almost forgot. I wrote these for the whole crew to read. Kind of as to explain the current situation, but more so as a last little testament. I need you guys to make sure everybody gets theirs. John explained as Nora flipped through them.
Thank you, John. You really must be on your way. Your airship out thinking we'll be leaving soon.
With that, the Ark departed from his teammates, hope filling him. Maybe I might live after all. I'm not going to die. John was currently unpacking the contents of his stomach. There was going to be many things the Ark had improved on since entering Beacon. Fortunately, his air sickness served to be one of the few things that still plagued John. Go figure. He would be the first one to experience nausea in this pregnancy. Laying a humorous chuckle, the Ark picked himself up in the bathroom, went back to his spot. The offense from that day drained the boy, and John figured a nap would do him some good. Sleeping off his air sickness might work. Hey, kid. John looked up, looking around. The deck was dark. Night was blanking over. And John must have slept through a good portion of the trip. It was still day when he dozed off. Looking in front of him called him. John saw a tall, willowy man, with gray hair that appeared to be drunk, as he was constantly waddling, and seemed unable to stand still. Do you know who I am? The dusty old man rasped out. John never knew to have seen this man before in his life, but he decided to handle this gently. A drunken civilian was always a hard thing to deal with. No, sir, but could you please let me be? I was kind of in the middle of. The man cut John off, hushing him. No, 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 no. Here, maybe this'll help. The man stood to his full height, a good half taller than John. He reached back to pull out the rather complex-looking weapon, marking himself as a hunter. The compact blade sprung into sword mode, gleaming blades shattered in silver moonlight. "You're a hunter?" John asked, feeling entering his stomach. No closer. Notice the good guard, kid. Here. The hunter said, shifting his weapon, the blade breaking apart and beginning an arc into a. No, it couldn't be. A scythe. I'm Ruby's uncle, Crow said as the blade reflected John's terrified face. I'll make. Meanwhile, bakers around Vale were less confused upon opening their shops one morning. Make if Ruby didn't bang John. It appeared to have been robbed. Contents was stolen before I let them off. Rather steal money, dust, or some other valuable stores. The thief only seemed to take the cookies, leaving behind red rose petals. The bakers could only scratch their heads at this, but continued as usual, producing more cookies to make up for their loss. Yang looked for her sister, stopped to see Ruby standing on top of a pile of cookie crumbs. The small girl's belly physically descended from the sheer amount of cookies. Ruby! How many cookies did you eat? Ruby let out a groan.
11. Teen.
And with that, the Reaper fell into a massive food coma. The jokes are great. Everybody's in character. And the addition of the red versus blue team kind of makes it even more hilarious. And I do love our human cells and how each one shows up. All in all, another fun day. That was one down, thousands more to go. I'll see ya next time.